Farzanah first learned about the Holocaust Center here when she attended an event that we were holding for the Queensborough Student Muslim Association. So we had an event here, and that's where she first came into the center. And this led to her becoming an intern in one of our other internships, because we have three. We have the Holocaust, we have one on the Asian Social Justice project, which talks about what was happening in Asia during World War II, and we have an internship on hate crimes, and that was the internship that she did. So she's a pro. She's done our internships before, right? For her, like most students, she wanted to learn more about the Holocaust, but she really wanted to meet a survivor and get the opportunity to interview a survivor. And I think that more and more, as more students find out about the internship program for people, it's that aspect. They want to learn the history, but they want that opportunity that we all know is so precious to actually talk to a survivor. So her major is health sciences here, okay? And so I'll pass it along. Nice and loud.
Hello, my name is Farzanah Siddique. I'm a health science major here in QCC. This is actually my second internship here at the Kupferberg Holocaust Center. I had the pleasure of interviewing Ms. Katz. Thank you, Ms. Professor Berman, for having me and ultimately admitting me into this internship. I always wanted to meet a survivor. It was like, whenever I would hear about the Holocaust, it's always just that one side that I would see, and we never got that opportunity to hear an actual survivor story. So I've always wanted to meet a survivor, and I found this opportunity and I took it. I ran with it. Ms. Katz was born in Bushach, Poland.
Yeah.
She was actually a twin. Her older brother was unfortunately killed during the invasion of Hitler. She had 3 brothers and 1 sister. And in July 5th, 1941, Hitler invaded her town, and he started killing right away. It was more along the rushed killing during that time. They didn't slow down. They first destroyed synagogues and holy books, and they killed 100 Jews in the first week. And they had an announcement that all males from 18 to 60 had to go to the police station before 6 o'clock. And all of the men were professionals. It had to be educated males. And her brother was one of those males. And he was sent to the police station, and he never came back. Ms. Katz is from a fairly large family. And I also come from a very large family. I'm the youngest out of 10 children. And I know it's a large number. So I felt really close to her in the sense that she comes from such a large family, and she's the only remaining survivor. So it hurt close to home, because how would I feel if the whole family was taken away from me? And it was really compelling when I was listening to her. In 1942, the Germans sped up the genocides, and they had many raids and actions. Raids, they sent Jews to they killed many Jews during that time during actions. Actions were well-organized murder attacks, and the Gestapo and the soldiers hunted down Jews, and there was 3 actions during that time. The 3rd action was the largest. Over 4,000 Jews were murdered. In 1942, they liquidated the ghetto, and survivors spread from the city. Her family, which was only her father, her mother died before the war, so it was just her father, her 2 brothers, because her twin was murdered, and her sister. They ran to their farm. They had a farm at the time, and they hid in chicken coops, and once they hid in a corn stack for 2 days. And it's just the idea of having to hide in haystacks to survive it's terrible, because your whole family, you're on the run, and just the fear of living day to day, knowing that tomorrow might never come, is just, it's not a happy sight. It's not a good feeling. And in 1943, they hid in the chicken coop, and then in the shed. And after that, in a small cottage where the owner, I believe, it was a male and a woman, right? Him and his wife. The owner, he was very kind. He let them stay, but his wife is the one who kicked them out. She wasn't very she didn't take kindly to Jews. And then in 1943, they hid also in grain fields. I remember when I was interviewing her, she told me about how when their farm was, the Gestapo came through and they cleared it out, they ran and hid. And when they came, they made a circle about it, and they came right back to their farmhouse because after the Nazi soldiers came through, they went back, and they thought they were safe, but the soldiers returned, and their father pushed them out of a window to save them. He told them to run, and she was hit in the back of the head with a gun, and she fell, and she thought at that moment she was going to die, but the soldier started chasing after her brothers, and in that sense she survived from that moment. And when she was telling me this, I started crying, and I remember Professor Berman told me I'm very stoic towards this whole. Through all the lessons we were going through, I didn't show that much emotion, but I actually broke down for Ms. Katz because the idea of witnessing your family's death is just, it's difficult to think that, I'm sorry, to see them eliminated in front of you, and you're completely powerless. The idea of being powerless it's horrible. To think that you can't do anything to save them, it must be a horrible feeling, and I can't imagine how it would feel. I put myself in her position every single time she was telling me of her experience. And I try to imagine what it would be like, and it's really hard. I couldn't take it because just the idea of losing family members sends shivers down my spine. I couldn't handle it. So when Professor Berman mentioned that I was pretty stoic throughout the internship, I started thinking about that. I was like, was I really stoic? And I realized that looking at pictures on a slide is far different than actually hearing a first eyewitness story. So the emotion, her facial expression, the attention to detail when she's telling me about it, it moves a person, it sends emotion, it evokes different feelings rather than looking at slides and facts and statistics. It's different. I remember she was telling me when after her family her brothers and her sister and her father were murdered, she was laying there on the ground motionless, and she saw 3 youngsters coming towards her. She didn't know who they were, so she automatically thought, oh no, I'm in danger again. So thinking that it's not the calm before the storm, it's horrifying to think of being in that position where you think you're facing death, but really she didn't know who they were. It turns out they were 3 Polish youngsters. They rescued her. They were Christian boys. They were Christian, right? And they were guarding their area, their land from the Ukrainians, because the Ukrainians and the Polish they were clashing. And they recognized her because they knew her father, and they saved her, and they helped her bury her family. And she said that she is forever grateful for them because they gave a Christian prayer when they were burying her family, and because a human's a human, everyone deserves a proper burial, and that spoke to me on a different level, because no matter what, a person deserves a proper burial. You never desecrate the dead. You don't walk on graveyards. You respect them, and that's what he did. And when she told me that she's forever grateful, I felt that sense of gratitude as well. After she buried her family, she went back to the city to recuperate, but a week later, Hitler reoccupied the city, and she hid in the attic of a house, an abandoned house. She found it, and she hid it. Eventually, that house was occupied by the Nazi soldiers, so she's living in an attic directly above the enemy, and that was it's something you read in a storybook, but here it is in real life, and I was so awestruck by that. There was a false door on the attic, and that's how she got in, and she sat there in that small, cramped area for 4 months with nothing but a piece of bread. Again, I put myself in her position, and I thought, at that time she was like 19, and I was thinking, when I was 19, would I have been able to survive with nothing, with no one, all alone in an attic? And I don't know if I could. Honestly, that question has, I don't want to say haunted me, but it's been affecting me since the interview. Like, what would I have done? Would I have reacted the same way she has? Would I have been strong enough like she has? I remember my sister told me that I'm strong, but I gave up too easy. So if I was in such a situation, would I give up? Would I have given up? And honestly, I don't know if I would, or if I would have survived or not. She took risks while she was in the attic for 4 months. She told me about how she was suffering from hunger and starvation, and because the dehydration was so severe, she could feel her esophagus tearing because there was no water. So she took the risk of going downstairs into the house and finding a pail of water, but she was smart about it. She recognized that there was a sick soldier down when she was in the attic, and he kept coughing, but so she knew that he never moved from that spot, so he was bedridden. So she waited till all the Nazi soldiers that were in the house would leave, because they would do rounds, and they would leave. So she waited till they left, and then she went down, she found a pail of water, she drank almost all of it, and then she went back up to the attic. And she had to transfer the water from the pail because it was too big to fit into the attic. She had to transfer it, and she did. And she lasted for the rest of the 4 months there until the Russian soldiers liberated them in July 22nd, 1944. When she was telling me that section of her story, it's amazing how, I thought it was so amazing because human resilience and perseverance got her through it. And you can't, I remember I was just so awestruck by that.
You were there. You saw it all. You tell it like you saw it. You were there.
I imagined the entire. I'm a visual learner. I also paint and draw, so I imagined how it would be and how it would look. And she was a young girl, so it was the idea of her being in that area for such a long time. She was in a cramped space, so I can only imagine the toll it took on her body. Her stay in the attic spoke to me on a different level. It showed me the extent of human resilience and how even through adversity, even though adversity may come in one's survivals, the human spirit is much stronger and you can overcome it. So just the idea of her being in that attic and surviving and eventually escaping is an unimaginable feat, and I'm so taken back by it, and it's inspiring because it just made me realize that some people have it much worse than I do, and it made me come to appreciate my family members all the more. I'm grateful that I still have my 9 siblings and my 2 parents, whereas there are other people out there that can't have their family members. So doing this interview and going through this internship just opened my mind and even further and helped me appreciate everything much more. And I'm so grateful that I was able to interview her and to take part in this internship.
Ethel, do you want to say anything?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You were there with me. She absorbed the story, and I am very glad she knows it through and through. She felt the tragedy, the greatest tragedy of the world. And she will tell the world because it's important to me. I remember in a certain situation, the Gestapo was in front of the house, and miracle happened. He was called away, and my father was praying, and then he said, who will tell the world what we are suffering? Here's the person. I have confidence. She will tell the world, and the world will know of the greatest crime in the human history. So that's important, and I thank you very much. It's all we have to tell the world about the crime, to learn from it. It shouldn't happen anymore. We must to eliminate the hatred. All we have to do to live in harmony, we have to respect our neighbor. We have to respect his nationality, his religion, his culture, his language. Then we could live in peace together next door, and just we live in harmony. That's all what we have to do. I am glad this young generation will tell the world what happened, what it means, the Holocaust, and we have to work for a better world. It should never happen again. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much.